You're listening to True Crime Stories. Let's walk through the case, one detail at a time.
Okay, so let's set the scene, because context is everything with this one. It's the early 1970s. England. Specifically, a tiny village called Bug Brook in Northamptonshire, which is about as sleepy and unremarkable as it sounds. There's a Baptist pastor there named Noel Stanton, and he's running a pretty standard congregation. Nothing wild, nothing unusual. But then something starts to shift. Young people start showing up, and not just regular churchgoers. We're talking about people who are lost, searching, coming out of difficult situations, homelessness, addiction, broken families. The kind of people who are genuinely looking for somewhere to belong. And Noel Stanton's community starts to feel like that place. It's warm, it's welcoming. People are living together, sharing resources, taking care of each other. On the surface, it looks incredible. The group eventually becomes known as the Jesus Fellowship Church, and publicly they call themselves the Jesus Army. Members have this very visible presence, out on the streets in matching jackets doing outreach, running programs for vulnerable people, operating buses, doing community work. The reputation is genuinely positive for a long time. People know who they are. People trust what they appear to be doing. But here's the thing about communities that control everything, and really everything is the right word here. Where you live, how you earn money, who your friends are, what your daily schedule looks like. When an organization has that much of a hold on someone's life, leaving isn't just emotionally hard, it's practically impossible. And that's exactly what this community was built on. For decades, members' housing, income, and social connections were all tied directly to the group. Leaving didn't just mean walking away from a church. It meant losing a home, financial stability, and the only community a person had. For people who had come in already vulnerable, and a lot of them had, that grip was especially tight. And while all of this was happening on the inside, the outside world had absolutely no idea. Here's where things start to unravel. And the fact that it took this long is its own kind of story. Former members start coming forward in the 1990s, and the accounts they're giving are serious. Allegations of abuse, conduct involving both adults and children, allegedly carried out by people in positions of authority within the community over multiple decades. And when you understand how the organization was structured, the reason it stayed hidden for so long starts to make a lot of sense. Think about it this way. If the person you'd report concerns to is the same person, or is protected by the same person, causing the harm, what options does that leave? And if speaking up means losing housing, income, and everyone a person knows, most people don't report. Most people survive as best they can and try to get out when they're able to. That's exactly the environment former members were describing. Northamptonshire police had been receiving reports connected to the Jesus Fellowship for years. But in 2017, they launched a dedicated, full-scale investigation called Operation Lifeboat. And what they found was staggering. More than 100 potential suspects, hundreds of individuals coming forward with accounts of harm, a timeline of alleged conduct stretching from the earliest years of the organization's communal structure through multiple subsequent decades. Now, investigating something that happened 30 or 40 years ago is genuinely difficult. Evidence doesn't get preserved the way it needs to. Documents disappear. Memories are affected by time. And when everything happened inside a closed community that operated largely away from external oversight, corroborating those accounts becomes incredibly hard. Some of the individuals identified as suspects had already died by the time investigators reached them. Noel Stanton himself, the founder, the man who built all of this, died in 2009, before Operation Lifeboat even launched. So he never faced charges, never had to answer for any of it in a courtroom. And that's one of the hardest parts of cases like this one. In 2019, the Jesus Fellowship Church officially closed its doors. After nearly 50 years of operation, the organization dissolved. Membership had been declining for years, the investigation was ongoing, and the public reputation that had once been built on community outreach and visible goodwill had been completely dismantled by what was coming out. But closing down didn't erase what had happened inside. In November 2020, a compensation scheme was set up for former members who had experienced harm during their time in the organization. It was run by an independent body, separate from the criminal proceedings, and it represented, at least at an institutional level, some acknowledgement that real harm had been done. Several individuals connected to the Jesus Army were prosecuted and convicted through the courts. The cases that made it to trial established on the legal record that the conduct described by former members was real, that it had occurred within the community structure, and that it had spanned extended periods of time. But here's what really lands about this case: the independent inquiry into child abuse. This massive, ongoing examination of institutional failures across England and Wales included the Jesus Army in its findings. And what they documented was exactly the pattern that emerges when unchecked authority, communal dependency, and zero external oversight exist in the same place at the same time. It wasn't random. It wasn't isolated incidents. It was a pattern, enabled by structure, sustained by the very things that made the community look so appealing from the outside. The shared living, the tight-knit bonds, the sense of belonging. Those same things made it nearly impossible for people on the inside to speak up or get out. Cases like this one, and there are more of them than most people realize, across religious communities, residential institutions, care systems, tend to follow the same timeline. The conduct happens over years, sometimes decades. The people experiencing it have limited access to outside help. The investigation, when it finally comes, is working against the clock, building cases from historical evidence, tracking down witnesses, accounting for suspects who are no longer alive to face consequences. The structure was in place for almost 50 years. The people inside it lived with what happened there for just as long. And the world outside didn't know any of it until former members finally had somewhere safe enough to tell their stories.